Welcome back.
Water, man.
Thanks for having me, but where's my water?
Hey, man.
Only you get a water, you get a water.
Asking you shall
we got
receive,
you.
man.
We got you, dog.
I thought y'all forgot about me. I was about to say, that's
got
messed
you.
up.
We want you
man.
hydrated,
I
man.
wanted to see you
Cool.
sweat a little bit.
Appreciate that, yo.
So what's up, Plot?
How you doing, man?
So your name's Jamil. What's your last name?
My real last name is Fernandez.
Fernandez. Okay, I never knew that. I always call you Plot, Kid Plot,
everybody calls
or
me
Jamil.
Yeah, so we're talking about you, but, you know, so Richard sends me your info. He's like, yo, he's on his way. You know, make sure. So I'm like, kid's on his way. He's like, Fernandez? I'm like, who's Fernandez?
I thought you didn't know my last name.
Jamil.
No, he
So
goes,
I had
said
just
Jamil.
called. I
He said
had just called you because I saw you. I missed your call.
Okay.
Yeah, he goes, Jamil's on his way. I'm like, I think kid's on his way too. He's like,
When he
mean
first was
Plot?
telling
I'm
me,
like,
when he first
what
was
the fuck
telling
are
me
we talking
about you,
about
he
right
was describing you instead of telling me who you were.
Right.
And so then I said, "Oh, Plot," and he was like, "Oh," he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Cool." I figured
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because you know me and you've done some of this
course.
before.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
and I'm happy, good to see you again. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
I think it was the Arnold Classic last year was when we was last kicking it, wasn't it? Oh, that was Olympia.
Nah,
that was Olympia. It was actually Olympia.
It was before. It was like 2 years already. It's been
No,
like 2 years.
No, remember we was at the wasn't you at the Olympia?
I was at the
In
Olympia that just passed.
the Europa boat. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the last time I saw you. is what
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying.
okay. Oh, yeah.
We was
you're
in
right,
the
you're
Europa
right,
booth.
You're right.
Yeah. We was kicking it in there. That was cool.
But the last time we seen each other away from like any event.
Yeah.
was
Like a couple years ago.
A couple years ago. Yeah.
well, how the fuck you gonna miss him, man? Do you wear that?
Oh, I just got this though. I didn't have it back
I was
then.
about to say, at the expo, like, look, just look for his name. It's sitting. It's like half his shirt.
So you're like a famous rapper, right? So we didn't do sex, drug, and rock and roll.
And
We
music.
did sex,
I'll
drug,
do
and
rock and
sports.
roll. I do hip hop.
Yeah, exactly.
And reggaeton.
So yeah, and I've heard your stuff is really fire.
Thank you,
like
I
for real. And I ain't just saying that because you're my dude.
Appreciate it.
And I was kind of shocked. You know what I'm saying? Not because
It's
I
always-
didn't think
it's
you had
always
talent
pleasant.
or nothing, but when you actually see somebody perform, when you
Yeah.
just normally
Like
just
they're
talk to them or
legit.
whatever,
Well, you know, in
you see
Atlanta,
him, the whole
everybody's
like,
an artist, right? In
Yeah, but I'm
Atlanta.
saying like to see him, like me and him, how we kicked it was like doing stuff like this, talking, you know, whatever in the gym. But when I seen him perform in his element,
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
never
yeah.
seen that before.
You're like, oh, he's like for
I was
real.
like, damn.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I'll buy that record.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things where I don't really talk about it to anybody. 'cause-
No, you don't. You
And,
didn't
and
say
I don't
nothing.
and I don't think you should. Anybody that does anything with their craft, like I think you should let that speak for itself.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm-
I didn't even know you had the craft though.
Right,
I didn't even
right.
know you did
And
it
the-
at all.
And the reason why I never brought it up though is because at the end of the day, everyone is gonna say that they're good at what they do. So if I say, yo, I do music, this and this and that,
Oh,
everybody's gonna, I'm dope.
Look at
Everybody
that.
thinks that way. You know what I'm saying?
what's up.
So
That's wisdom
everybody
right
you
there.
run into is always gonna say their stuff is good. So I always go in with the mentality of, if they come to me with like, yo, I didn't know you did music, that means that you liked it or you respected it or something. It did something to you
no,
where
I
you was like, wow,
really
okay.
liked it.
So that's the reason why I don't bring it
Especially
up.
since I didn't know you actually did it.
Yeah.
So when I heard you did music, I had never heard the music. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, we talented. But then when I actually saw the video and saw the flow,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
Appreciate
I'm
that,
in the
Tony.
presence of
Yeah.
greatness.
Hey.
For real.
So how long you been doing that? Is that something you've been doing like?
A long time. Yeah, I've been, so I started doing music in 2008.
Okay.
So it's been about 12 years now, yeah.
So
And how young are you right now?
How do you think
he
I
got
am?
the baby
Just
face.
Google.
No, yeah,
will
you
tell.
can Google me and it'll pull up. But how do you think I am, though?
I would say you're in your 20s. You're probably maybe mid to late 20s.
Nah, I'm 34.
Are you really?
Yeah, man.
Hey, see, that's a compliment right there.
Yeah, man. Appreciate
Keep doing what
that.
you're doing.
Appreciate it, yeah, man.
well, this makes you look in the 20s. No, I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
wait,
I'm
hey,
just
listen,
kidding.
I'm
No,
gonna
I
do
love
whatever
it.
it takes.
No, I love it. Because I love it.
Don't, he's got one too. It says X-Man, Tony Freeman.
The
It's like-
X-Man.
I've had all that type
It's a
of
big
stuff.
ass X. You know what I mean?
That's a good
The-
nickname,
Yeah,
too.
right.
The X-Man is a
Yeah,
good
Yeah, we were talking
nickname.
about that last time, remember?
That's one of the better nicknames.
So you're also a power lifter.
Yeah, and I did some bodybuilding now.
No,
And
I was
both.
getting to that.
You was getting there,
I was
okay.
getting to that. I'm breaking it up in sections.
Yeah, so the powerlifting
So
thing.
bodybuilding probably came first then. Or no?
Actually, yeah, bodybuilding came first,
Okay.
competitively, like actually
Right.
doing like an NPC show. But I've always power lifted in the gym. Like I've always been a heavy lifter. But then because bodybuilding is so much more challenging than powerlifting.
Say it again.
Yeah, bodybuilding is a lot more challenging because it's literally an everyday, all day thing.
Then we
You know
said-
what I
we
mean?
said-
Say it
This-
again.
man.
I used to tell people
I
all
feel like
the
this
time,
is episode 1.
I'm like 24/7 with this.
Yeah.
If you're really trying to do
I
it.
know, yeah.
Because it's a lot, like for me, it's a lot easier to just eat whatever I want get big and get strong,
Yeah.
right? And not worry about being in shape, like
Right.
literally being
Right.
like have a physique.
Plus,
that's
you got the
lean.
nice face, so it don't even you going I'm distracting them. Don't look at that. Look at my
face.
Yeah, man. So I took
That's
the
it.
road. I took the road to bodybuilding first to compete because it was a bigger challenge. Because that you had to, like I said, you have to work towards that. You know better than anybody. Like the diet every single day when you're prepping, and even when you're off season, you're not really off season. You're still dieting for a purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I started doing my first prep, it was really fun. I did my first show in 2015. I actually did the Coastal.
Okay.
You know the Coastal Rope Show, in 2015.
The infamous Coastal.
Yeah,
come on, man.
and so I won. I got first place on that one in light heavyweight when I did the Coastal.
Did you actually train for that and got first place, right?
Yeah. I definitely trained.
I'm just
Did you actually diet?
I did that.
You didn't
I'm
eat
just
some
teasing.
gummy
But
bears
of
like
course,
me?
it was my first show, and I knew I could have looked way better. I was probably 75% or 70% of what I know, I could have got to. And then my second show was in 2016, which I probably was about 85% my best. I still had some room for improvement. So
That was
and
actually-
that one I got second I did the Georgia.
And you did the bodybuilding, not
That was bodybuilding. Yeah, I didn't do my first powerlifting meet, which I really focused just on bench, only because, as a competitor in anything, when you really want to win, you take things to the extreme,
focus.
and you take things to the extreme. So with powerlifting, I would, when I say to the extreme, I don't mean like what I'm taking. I mean like when you're actually on the platform about to compete and do the lifts, you'll end up going above and beyond what you think you could do, and you end up getting hurt. You know what I mean? So
Been there.
with me, like trying to deadlift, 700 plus pounds, which I've done in the gym, I would want to go even higher, and I worry about my lower back because I haven't had the best lower back in the world as far as it not always hurting a little bit. So I've only focused on bench because that's the only exercise that I never really had pain like that. You know what I mean? Like my elbows never hurt, my chest never hurt, shoulders never really hurt. So, me doing really, really heavy on the bench press felt like a safer lift than me doing squats. And I've always had pretty bad knees. I got to wrap them really, really tight in order to, really get a good squat in. So I didn't do the full power. I just did the bench. And I actually won the competition I just did. I did it last year in September. But in September, when I did the powerlifting meet, I did 501, right, with a pause, which was enough to win. But on the way down, I was going for the state record, which was 512, right? Which I've done a million times in the gym with a pause. Like I've paused 525 in the gym, so I knew that I could get it. So when I came down with it, I partially tore my pec
The fascia.
on the way down.
Not the tendon, the fascia.
The fascia.
Yeah.
So on the
I've
way
done that
down,
shit.
when I came down, I heard the thing go,
Oh, yeah.
and I didn't even try pushing it.
No.
If I would have, I
Good.
probably would have
I
completely.
think I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
that video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's why I asked you the fascia, because the fascia would tear on the down.
On the down.
The
On
tendon would have tore on the up.
So that's why I didn't even bother to push.
It's a slingshot
And that's a bad one,
motion.
too, man.
It's a slingshot motion. I tore my pec on the up.
Yeah.
On the up. So that's why the tendon just tore partially. I didn't stretch it to the point where it would have split the fascia, and then
Yeah.
I would have blew it out.
Yeah, so now I have it's like deformed. So when I'm in this position, which is the down position, I have a lump right here and I get therapy and I got the whole, because this happened in September. So for 4 or 5 months, I was getting therapy, getting sports therapy, getting massages, trying to get
Using
into
tools on you and
using the
everything, too?
tools on me,
Fascia blaster?
like
Okay,
the
good.
little, like
Yeah,
all
okay,
that,
good.
and I was going to a therapist, and even still, like literally when I go like this and I feel both sides.
Yeah.
If I get shredded, I don't think that this is gonna look the same as this side, so I'm a little
the
worried
fascia.
about that.
I'll fuck with your head.
It definitely does. Yeah,
It'll come back eventually, but
Okay.
you got to stay on it.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know I know the pec tear situation.
Yeah. So that's what happened there, man. So
Cool.
So who's you have a favorite power lifter, like, in the pros?
I don't really have. Well, there's not really pros in powerlifting.
Well,
but
the
I know what you mean.
strongman
The
is what
stronger,
I'm- yeah, strongman.
I mean, I'm not really, because I'm more of a fan of bodybuilding.
Okay.
I just went in. I love bench press. That's
Right.
like my favorite exercise. But there's a lot of guys out there that I like. I'm friends with a lot of them too. Like Larry Wheels is one of my friends, and I think he's great. I think he's
He just
super
started
strong.
competing a lot, like a lot more serious.
Yeah, he's been competing for years now, but he's super strong in every lift, so I like him a lot. And then the strongman, I like Thor Bjornsson. So
Bjornsson, yeah.
he's I
Hathor.
mean, he's a monster. And then when I saw him on Game
What a
of Thrones,
proper name, right?
yeah,
Fucking
it
Viking
goes with
monster.
him.
He's like 12 feet tall, he's like 500. Like what?
So when I saw him on Game of
Holy
Thrones,
crap.
I really started liking him.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
okay, so he's
You seen his fucking dad? You get it once you see his dad.
oh really?
His
Nah,
dad's a
that's-
giant too.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 6'7" or something.
Some.
Yeah.
It's giant though. You just like look at him like what the.
Yeah, these guys are
Hey,
big.
what kind of water?
What's the?
This
He's
the
not
ice
as
thing?
young anymore. What's the one that was winning a few years ago? He was like 24, 25. Man, I forget him. It was me and him in the elevator. This is at my last Arnold, and like he literally had the whole other side of the elevator
You're not talking about
Eddie Hall?
Eddie Hall.
with the baby face.
He had the mohawk.
Ah, I can't-
He has a title.
I think
for,
that was his
deadlift
first year.
title.
That was his first year, and he kicked everybody's ass. He's like 425, and the only reason I know that because I'm in the elevator with him. I'm like, because he's not fat at all.
Was he your height?
He's like 6'7", 6'8".
No, Eddie
That's
Hall's
definitely
not that
not
tall.
tall. He's 6'3".
So anyway, no,
I
he's
think.
about 6'5", 6'6". Anyway, the point is, I'm standing there, right, and I'm like, dude, because people ask me how much you weigh, how much you, all that stuff. I'm like,
You asked
like,
him?
I said, how much do you weigh?
You asked him.
And he was like 425. I was like, wow,
them
that's
boys
the
are big.
leanest 425
You're like, yeah,
I've ever
that's-
seen. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, Eddie Hall is funny because his body is he's got this belly, but
He's got abs.
he's got abs on him. It's really weird. You're like, what? What the fuck? What is this? What's going on? Is this implants? What's happening over here? You know?
I used to talk to Ronnie about like the leverage he used to use. He would use his mid for that leg press.
Yeah.
You know when he put the 40-something plates on there. So that obviously it must be what Eddie's doing.
That's some fucking
actually
yeah,
using
Eddie,
it for leverage.
Well, Eddie still is holding the title for
deadlift.
Yeah, the deadlift title, like in the world. He was it 1,102 pounds or something like that. He said he went
Is that what it
blind.
is?
I think that's what
I
he
thought it was
said.
1,050 or something like that. Because I think I saw a video where I thought
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just
He
said he went
ridiculous.
blind?
it's really crazy. Though,
In
yeah.
mid-lift?
He said he went blind for 20 minutes
Wow.
after that lift. Because you see him when he does it, he'll hold it, and then when he goes down, he's out. They have to like pick him up. And he's like, I went blind for 20 minutes. I couldn't I didn't know where the fuck I was for like 2 days,
Wow.
3 days.
He might have had a mini stroke.
So
He might have.
So check this out. I'm glad you mentioned that because Thor actually put up a post recently where he's doing the Arnold. He's gonna be doing the Arnold, and he said that at the Arnold he may not be able to break the record because there's 2 other lifts before he does the deadlift.
Okay.
But the next competition that he's doing, which is I think like a few months after,
He's going for it?
the first lift is deadlift.
Oh,
So he's gonna be fresh, and he said that then we'll see apples for apples of who's really got the biggest deadlift.
Oh,
so he's going for the record. Yeah,
Wow.
I can't wait to see that.
Crazy.
That's gonna be really fun.
I did an interview with Brian Shaw when we were there for you. When you had a booth there for X-Pain. And Brian, it's really funny, man. Because I'm standing there, and he's like the nicest dude. You know.
Oh, Brian Shaw, yeah.
Yeah, so he's the nicest dude. His head is about as big as his table.
I never met him though, but yeah, I've
He's a
seen
big
him.
dude.
He's like 6'9", 450 pounds, something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interviewing him, and I'm like asking him about all the different world records. It took like 5 minutes for him to go through his world records. I was like, all right, well, that's a wrap for this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I was like, Brian, appreciate it, man. Like, you know,
that's crazy.
I mean, the dude holds all kinds of records, and he's a fucking beast, man, that guy. But he's the nicest guy.
Sweetheart. I met him the first time in Australia when they first came. The strongmen came to Australia, and we were staying at the Radisson, and so we're all in the restaurant in the morning, and the chef makes pancakes. You know,
They ran out.
that's not a
Was
popular
Brian-
dish in overseas. Right. You know, so anyway, we go get the pancakes, and I got like 3 or 4 on the plate, and they got Brian and Dexter and everybody's down there eating. I cut into them. I'm like, ew, what is this, right? So by then I had already got buddy with all of them. So I said, tell the chef to come here. So the chef comes out, and the chef's like, I said, did you make these pancakes? She was like, yes. I said, did you make them out of a box? He was like, no, I made them from scratch. I'm like, oh,
Offended.
okay. I said, what's the recipe? She said, you want the recipe now? I'm like, I'm something I'm trying to figure out with the taste. So she says, I said, what's the recipe? She said, I use self-rising flour, then I use baking powder. Then I said, hold up. I said, what? You use self-rising flour and baking powder and baking soda inside? I said, it's self-rising flour. I was like, so I pull up my phone, I screenshot my recipe, and I handed it to her. I said, go back there and make that. She went back there and made that shit, and it was the bomb. So the next morning, it's breakfast time again. Dexter calls my phone. It's like 6:15 in the morning. Tony, come down here. The old chef ain't here no more. They don't know how to make them pancakes.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
Hey man, text me your ingredients.
So like, I don't know. The next year, I saw Brian at the Arnold again. We was at the restaurant on Sunday after the show, and that's the last person I got a picture with before I retired.
With Brian?
Yeah.
I like him. He's a good dude. So let me ask you this, man. How much you think? Because obviously there's a lot of drugs in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
How much and what kind of drugs do you think is in strongman? I mean, obviously these guys are giants.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's a. I started thinking about this because I know they're all giants and they're all really strong, but the lifts are getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's getting to the point where you're just like wondering, you're like,
If
they're
you-
not like
if
ripped.
you
or
look at the way they're built, it's more structure and leverage than it is chemistry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they don't take anything, but I'm saying is there's no that don't come in a bottle.
Like,
That's
I'm
the
just-
point I'm trying to make.
what would Brian take? You know what I mean? Like he's not.
But dude, what is he? 450?
Yeah, they're all over
Something
400
like
pounds.
He's a
you know what I'm
giant.
saying? Like
He's
so,
6'9", like,
that's I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying.
The dude that I met that was 425, he was 24.
He's 24 years old.
He didn't have time to take.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
a lot of these guys are open about that. Like, they definitely take stuff. I mean,
No, I'm saying they obviously take something.
I just wonder
But
what
I'm
it is,
saying
you know?
well, one of the things that's really popular in like powerlifting and strongman, I know Anadrol is very
Yeah, of
popular.
course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
'Cause that really gets
And
you strong.
bodybuilding,
Yeah. But in bodybuilding, I mean, for Anadrol it makes you hold a lot of water though. So I don't think.
Well, it depends on how you use it.
Oh, okay, really? Okay.
Anadrol is supposed to be used for a short period of time. These dudes
Right.
be doing cycles with it, and that's why they're holding water. You
What's
do
a short
Anadrol as like an androgen load. You do it 30, one tablet 30 days to get your androgens up. Then you come off that shit and do something.
Oh,
other
so
stuff.
this 30 days.
Yeah, these dudes is running it with the
Like a whole cycle.
program and stuff.
Let me tell you what the funniest shit is. When you see dudes at LA Fitness, oh yeah, I've been doing a 12-week cycle of Anadrol.
Yeah,
I'm like, what?
exactly. You're just like
Your liver's about
waking
to
up,
come out,
punching
man.
your liver.
Go to the hospital
in the liver.
right now.
You're punching your liver in the liver.
Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's really that's bad. Yeah, I know that's a very popular drug. I think really that's the main one. Of course, test. Obviously
testosterone,
everybody at a higher dose, I guess. But I'm not really sure about any of the other ones because I don't really mess with Anadrol or any of that stuff like that.
Good
so
for
I'm
you.
not too sure.
Because you value your life.
Yeah.
That's good. Longevity is important.
Plus,
man.
finding the real deal is next to impossible.
That's you know what? That's a really
I mean,
good point.
in Europe they still got it.
That's a really good point. Like, I know like there's all these hormone therapy places, but it's not like back in the day like Zambon would make what they make like
Winstrol.
Winstrol, right? And then like you had these different countries would make different things, and it was like you knew.
The brands.
Right,
There
you
were
like,
brands.
oh,
back
this
in
is
the day.
Zambon? Okay, this is like real Zambon?
So back in the day, there were brands. Centex made Anadrol. Steris made Test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now it's Dragon Ball or
Do you remember British-
UGL.
do you remember
British Dragon.
British Dragon? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's like freaking all these weird names because people are making them in their own
They're just
little
making them in their
lab.
Yeah, their
and,
basement.
Dude,
know
there was
what
a
I'm saying?
there was a dude here. Do you remember Southern Labs? You guys remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
You know what I'm talking
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Southern Labs. I heard. So this is what I heard. It's alleged.
My bro's a chemist, bro.
Listen, this is a alleged thing. Okay.
He's a chemist, bro.
He's a
Oh my
He
God.
does. Where's his lab at? His house.
right.
Like, oh, is it sanitized? No. Like he makes pancakes
I
in
don't
the
want-
same place. He fucking.
Then I don't want that.
Dog, I'm not kidding you. So the very first fight gym here was Knuckle Up Fitness, okay? And then some of the fighters, when they were night fighting, would get shit from this dude. So one of the guys,
Dog, I gave you the maple. My bad, dog.
yeah, listen, yeah, that's the one. Remember? So this dude apparently, allegedly, this dude ran out of like injection oil and started using Crisco because that's what he had
Yeah,
in his house.
bro.
Kidding me, right?
I'm not kidding you, man.
That's crazy.
So and he was.
Is Trend supposed to be this brown?
I'm like-
oh no, dog, that's the maple syrup.
right. You know what I mean?
That's foul.
And I'm like, what the? And then the
messed up.
people would be like, oh, I can get a bottle of test for like $30. I'm like, that's a bottle of Crisco for $30, bro. Like,
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
Some shit in this life you should not skimp on, and that's your health.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's why I always tell people that whenever anybody asks me like stuff, because obviously I've been in the game for a minute now. I've been around it since 2005, and I always say if you're gonna buy something, like if you're gonna buy steroids, I always say make sure your source of who you're getting it from is someone that you trust a lot, like somebody that you know is gonna sell you what they're telling you they're selling you.
The
right.
shit that they use.
Yeah, like
don't sell me the shit that you use to pay for the shit that
Yeah.
you
Right,
use.
don't just go
That's right.
online and just order something online because these people don't know you. They don't give a damn about you. They don't care if you end up having any kind of complications, you know. So
There's
always
no,
get it.
there's no 30-day refund policy.
Right. If you get it from a source that you really trust, so an individual, like if I'm dealing, like if it's somebody like you, I know you, right? And I'm gonna trust you because we're friends. And if it's somebody that I trust, and you tell me, look, this is legit, then I'm gonna believe in you. You know what I mean? So this is the type of people that you need to deal with, the people that you know, trust, that you have an actual solid relationship with, not somebody you just met at the gym.
I had a
know
source
what I'm
back in the day, right, that literally told me, I'm not selling you nothing else no more, because you might beat me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, Tom.
Here's a friend,
Yeah,
a competitor.
So you know what I'm saying?
Competition, right,
So at least
that's enough
So
of-
at least I knew he was giving me the goods. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That's crazy. Where
Word.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, that's deep.
Hey.
That's
Now I
deep.
really want some shit. Give me
That
some more. of
means
that
he knew you was competition, man.
I took it as a compliment, and this was like, well, damn.
This is
That,
what
that
you got,
just
man.
it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But honestly, we was really tight,
Yeah.
and he was like, because I'm green. This is like '94.
Yeah.
Right. So he's
You
helping.
can't
me.
say who it was?
Of course.
Who?
I could.
Who?
Edgar Fletcher.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't gonna get mad.
Well, I mean, you didn't say his
No,
name.
I'm
so
just
that's
saying,
why I
but it wasn't the point. It wasn't the point who it was. It was the
Okay,
fact
I was
that
just curious.
we were, I came on the scene in '93.
Yeah.
So he was the shit. '92, '93 was still the shit too.
Okay.
And then so we met. He started helping me. He liked this little chick, and I hooked him up
You're
or
like, I'll
whatever.
hook you up with a chick?
He came, stayed at the crib. He's like, because he was from Germany, so he had the real
Right,
shit.
right.
So he's hooking me up, and we training together, and he's literally watching me just in front of his face transform. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, wait a minute.
So 2 months
Like
after
to-
2 months in, he was like, "Hey man,
That's it.
you're my dude and all, but you have to find another."
You
source."
want to
If you're gonna beat me, it ain't
I don't
gonna
even
be
want
wild.
your money.
I was like, "Wow!" And we still stayed boys, but
Yeah.
it was a business at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Well, he's competing with you.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. He's like, "I can't like."
like you're
Help
good-
you beat me.
We're doing the same
I
show.
might as well just stop.
Yeah.
Like, why am I even
man.
competing?
That's funny.
So it's funny because I grew up in Europe, and in Europe, I remember, like I know back in the day, like you can go to like grocery store here and buy D-ball off the shelf. Like, it was that like D-ball,
When was it?
80s,
Oh, okay.
like
yeah,
the 80s.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about like last
No,
year.
80s. You're correct.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
Yeah, so in the 80s, you can go like literally go into a grocery store and you could like buy a bottle of D-ball.
Wow.
It was over the counter. It
Over the
wasn't
counter.
illegal
Yeah, that was
until
before-
like
that was-
86, 87.
Fucking
when they-
crazy, like D-ball out of all the shit. So I remember like when I grew up in Europe, a lot of places their rules are like you can buy as much as you want, you just can't sell it. So basically, you can't go over there and set up a shop and then start selling it to the
That's
rest
how
of
it
the
is
world.
in Europe right now.
Yeah.
Europe it's legal to use and to purchase. You just can't
Can't
deal
sell
it.
Can't sell it, yeah. Because I mean, they know people are gonna be like, oh shit, I'll just go set up shop in England,
Right.
and I'll just set up a website and just start.
People
fucking-
are gonna do what they want to do. I mean,
Yeah.
especially like now, social media. Like what I'm saying. Like you Google, you can find whatever you want. So
Yeah.
the reality of it is giving, and that's kind of what this show is about, is to give people the goods. And I know we don't get into details or nothing like that, but what I'm saying is there's a dark side that a lot of people just ignore, and you really don't pay attention to it till you try to leave, till you try to stop, till you try to like when I retired now, like okay, I'm not gonna be competing, so there's no need of me eating 7 meals a day. There's no need of me doing none of this stuff. So I had to like transform my life back to regular Joe.
Yeah.
That shit ain't
Well,
easy.
we talked about it.
Yeah, it's not
you can
easy.
actually go buy stuff at the mall now.
It's not easy. Oh yeah, I bought this. I mean, this is actually a little bit too
Yo,
small for me.
I
but-
always bring up like sometimes he'd be like, at this event I go get some like I get a pair of pants. You know what I mean? And we'd go. I'm like, dude, we're not gonna find pants for you in
At all.
Macy's.
Oh my god.
So
you
they
fucking
used
crazy?
to have this machine in the mall that you can go inside this machine, and it would measure you, right? And then it would tell you all the stores that has stuff that you can fit.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm walking past this machine, And the girls like, hey, come here, we got this new machine. Could you come test it out? I'm like, okay, cool. So I go in the machine, and they're, behind it. And I'm like, it's like, well, hold on a second.
Error.
Wait a minute. I'm like, she said, can you step out and go back in again? So I step out. Then they do to make sure the machine's, go in there. Oh, yeah, okay, work.
It's
okay,
working
you
for
go
normal
out.
people.
And I went back in. What the fuck?
Wow.
The machine
Because,
didn't
Tony-
even measure. I know. The machine couldn't even measure me. And it was
Because
like,
the
basically,
mach-
there's nothing in this mall that can fit you.
Dude, this is the machine. This is the machine. You walk in, this is the machine. Machine's like, the fuck are you doing in this mall,
That shit was
motherfucker?
so hilarious.
Take your ass
I'm
to the-
laughing because when they first stopped me, I said, there's nothing in this
We
mall
wear
that I can
all
fit.
spandex.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said, look, I said, there's nothing in this mall that I can fit. She's like, come on, it'd be fun. I got in there, and she said, sir, I'm sorry. This
is the first time a machine
literally doesn't
can't
measure
find
you.
clothes.
What were you weighing at the time?
I was like 3-0 something.
Yo,
I
let's-
stayed
so
in
hold
shape,
on.
though. I stayed
Yeah.
in
Hold on,
shape.
but I got a question.
With abs.
How did you get that big? Like, I mean, I know how, but what exactly did you do? That's my question for you.
Mindset, your mindset, your mentality is the most powerful thing in existence. So I started bodybuilding at 162 pounds, right? At 6'2". The dude who first showed me how to work out told me, before he showed me how to work out, you'll never be able to be a bodybuilder. You're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too this, that, and the other. And all I knew, because my dad bought me, I watched Pump and Iron when I was 13. My dad bought me the concrete weight set. All I remember out of that whole situation is Arnold Schwarzenegger is 6'2". You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, once I decided I wanted to be a bodybuilder, or that I wanted to attempt it anyway, I'm 6'2", I'm good. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm good. So he told me all the stuff that I couldn't do. So that kind of drove me to do it. So then when I turned pro at 249, right? This is after, a 10-year amateur career, 5 years of not training, then coming back, getting my pro card. As soon as I get my pro card, they say, well, he'll never do nothing as a pro. I'm like, wait a minute, motherfucker. I just went through all this shit to get me the pro card. I ain't even I'm on the stage. I ain't even got off the stage yet. The first,
Keep
you know
giving
what I'm
me
saying?
this fuel.
So then whoever that motherfucker, you know who it was? I'm sorry to call him motherfucker, but Ron Harris wrote this article about Tony Freeman just won the Nationals overall. I don't think he'll ever do much as a pro. He's too tall and skinny. Same shit the other dude told me.
All this shit.
Right? Yeah. So then they said, you need to be 300 pounds to be competitive. And I'm like, what? Sean Ray even told me I need to be 350 pounds to be competitive. I'm like, this don't even make no
Fuck it,
sense.
man. Just be 400 pounds, man. And with the
I'm like,
abs, you win.
So anyway, a guy named Anthony Aponte, Tony Aponte, he lives in Seattle. Went out to his crib. He basically did my whole program. He cooked my food. He basically created this room for me, put the aluminum foil on the window so it'll be black, and every time I ate a meal, and he literally took me from 284 to 308 in like 8 days. Eating, training. And so once I got even close to 300, because it wasn't that far to get to 300, but once I got over 300 and I knew that I could actually do that, and I had somebody that could actually sit me down and show me what was required. And then after that,
You said tinfoil on the windows?
So what was required?
mindset and then action.
Okay.
And then you got to give it X amount of time. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to train like everybody else back then, slinging weights, you know what I'm saying?
Like the
Like
Flex
curling the
magazine?
65s, trying to get 20 something inch arms. This joker, I remember the first arm workout we did. We warmed up, whatever. I think we did like the hammer curl, preacher curl, warm up on that. So he sits me down on the bench and gives me 2 15-pound dumbbells. I'm like, what the fuck I'm gonna do with these 15s? He said, trust me. He said, he said, you trust me? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what are you making my food every day? I gotta trust you. So I'm sitting there and he shows me, he said, I just want you to hold the dumbbell in your hand and make a muscle. I'm like, okay. He said, give me 20, right? I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at him like, man, this shit is lighter than a motherfucker.
You're like, I weigh 300
But after
pounds.
about 4 or 5 reps, that
'Cause you're
that
flexing
freaking
at the same
bicep
Because you're actually
just
working
lit
the
on
bicep?
fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, I listened to everything he said. Like I said, this dude was cooking my food, feeding me, taking me to get my all that shit. So I bought into the whole system. And after that, I knew I could do anything. I was 312 pounds at like 5% body fat.
And you did this after you got back from Kuwait, right?
Yeah. Well, no, because Kuwait is why, the reason why they invited me to Kuwait.
Oh, because
is
you did
because of
that.
what I did with him.
Okay.
My whole career took off. So I remember before 05, I was placing like 11th, 10th. You know, they wasn't even hardly paying me attention. And then Aponte was like, he confronted Steve Weinberger. Yo, man, you ain't even gonna give my boy a look. And he was like, who's your boy? And he was like, Tony Freeman. He's like, oh, okay. And I got up there, and then they was like, oh, he does look good. Hey, Mikey, he likes
Steve's like,
it.
oh, shit.
You know what I'm saying?
right.
And that's how I got in the mix.
Right.
And then we went to the Europa in 06, and I smashed them. Yeah. And then after that, I was the X-Man.
Hey.
Who gave you that nickname?
I tried to give it to myself.
Okay.
So when I was working for VPX, I told Jack, I said, I want to be the VPX man, right? Because X-Men had just came out.
Okay.
I wanted to do a little character to sell with the product. And he was like, man, get out of here with that. And so I won the show. And then Steve Bleckman said, you know, we're going to do this spread on you. You know, what do you want to call it? I said, I want the X-Men series. He was like, that's genius. So we did like a 6-month series of me, how I got my legs. How
That's
I got
muscular development, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
The one where I on the cover like that?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
You know, it's funny because when you Google you, that's one of the pictures that always comes up.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that's one of
That's,
You know, it's funny because I miss it, but I don't miss it at all. I don't miss the grind. You know, I was just watching Patrick Moore's video today, what it takes to be a bodybuilder, and he one of my favorites now. I just started paying him attention at the O. Like the other shows he did, I was like, who's this dude? You know, because they only give you one picture. I didn't get to see the physique or comparisons or nothing like that. So I'm sitting at the Olympia last year, and I'm kind of like, you know, it's okay. But it was weird because Sean got disqualified and couldn't go. So my whole mentality of what the Olympia was going to be like was gone. So now I'm like blank slate. Yeah. And I knew Brandon was going to kick ass, but I didn't know Patrick was even in it. And then I saw him, I was like, oh shit, he looks really good. And so I think that, you know, that's what I was striving for. So I'm going to always have the affinity to say, wow, that looks good. But he really does look good. And, you know, I think he's going to do well at the Arnold.
Are you, what do you think about the Persian guy, Hadi Chupan?
Crazy conditioning. I don't know what's going on from here to there.
His arms?
It's like arms and shoulders.
I think he's got a short torso.
I think
he does have a short torso, but I'm
arms are
saying
short.
like
And it's not big enough for it to look.
his conditioning and his
ridiculous,
and
right?
his shape and proportions is on point. Look amazing. So I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like, you gotta understand like
You're not
at
attracted
this
to shape?
No, it's not at this level. All I can do is look at what's wrong.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
You have to nitpick.
and I hate it. I'm so glad now I'm a fan again. So now I don't have to be but as a bodybuilder competitor, I can just like, you know what I'm saying? But
So do you think that's his weakness?
I won't even call it
Not
a
a
weakness.
weakness,
It's something going on, and because I don't know him, I don't want to speculate. I'm just saying like looking forward to seeing what he does. If you look at his appendages, you know what I'm saying? Like we have bodybuilders who are gifted with genetics and muscle bellies and Phil Heath.
Yeah.
Then we have other bodybuilders who have work ethic and genetics to get conditioned. Hadi's one of those type of dudes. He has a flat stomach midsection. In other words, he is bodybuilding because that's what I think bodybuilding is when you're trying to put forth the best package.
Right.
I think that his enhancement is something's going on with his enhancement up here, and I don't know. So I'm just, you know, we're hardcore to the real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's SEO. I don't know what it is, but it don't look like from here down. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so that's why in that scenario,
I always notice the same thing when he does his front double biceps. It always
it's
that always
structurally
looks,
anyway. He's in such crazy condition and it flows, so you almost ignore it. But I can't, and that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm looking at him like, okay, I don't know what that is.
So what you're saying
but
is you don't like him because he's Persian?
No, I love him. I love Persian. You know I love
This should be a hashtag, I think.
You know I love Persian.
I know,
so
man, 'cause I'm
the
Persian.
the thing with him is, so if there was two guys with similar condition, right? And one was more gifted,
right?
You know what I'm saying? As far as that, I would probably pick him. Now Hadi probably structurally, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like when you look at him, you can't deny it.
Yeah, and he poses pretty well too.
He poses really well.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, I'm nitpicking out. So me personally as a fan, when I'm looking at, because guess what? When you're a fan, I mean, when you're a bodybuilder, when you're competing, and you say you come off stage, do you need someone to tell you look good? You fucking know you look good. I need to
I
know
don't really
what's
think
wrong.
you care.
What do I need to improve on? How was my posing? Did I hold my legs like I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the stuff that I really want to hear.
See, but that's you because not every
I know.
bodybuilder is
No, I know,
open
no,
to
I know.
that.
And that's why
It's ego,
and that's
you know?
why I'm
You tell
explaining
some
it.
bodybuilders that
But that's
you know,
why I'm
this
explaining
and
it.
that.
That's
They
why
get
I'm
Fuck you,
explaining
you don't
it.
know shit.
They get offended.
Okay, all right.
Yes, but that's why I'm explaining it because me personally, my mirror works. I know I look good, so that's not help. You're not helping me right now.
Right.
I need to know what I did not.
Hey, Tony,
do
your legs
correct.
look great. Like, well, fuck.
You know what I'm
Thanks.
saying? So that's just how I am. So if I was to ever sit down with Hadi, I would first compliment him and tell him all that, and then if he was able to tell me what's up, then I wouldn't have no. You know what I'm saying? Like it would. I need
makes
some
sense.
more light. But he's number. I just noticed again. He was number 2 in Mr. Olympia. It kind of reminds me of when Branch was number 2 in Mr. Olympia. You guys, I love Branch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, he was.
But
He
He
got
was
third.
He got third. He got third. He
Who
got
got
third.
second?
William Bonac.
Bonac, yeah.
oh, that's right. That's right. But he was in the top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is, Branch. We all know Branch was crazy condition, crazy, but structurally he wasn't the.
He
you know
used
what
to
I'm saying?
be.
No, he did used to be.
Yeah,
and
he
you know
used
what
to
I'm
be.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I knew that too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And then he
so
got-
now you have all these other variables that you can throw into the mix. And so when he got second place to Jay that year, and then they gave Dexter third, I'm like, what the fuck? That Dexter looked better in 09 than he did in 08. But no one even remembers. No one even noticed. But if you can find the footage, you can go back and look at it. It was ridiculous how good he looked, but he got completely ignored because Branch looked good too. You know what I'm saying? So
I think didn't Dexter just say he's going to retire soon?
after this
Yeah.
Olympia. So that's all I'm saying. Like in bodybuilding, it's a complete situation. So if you have 4 of the 5 elements, then you have 4 of the 5 elements. You don't have all. You know what I'm saying? No, very few people end up being a total package.
How many times did you come off stage and ask the judge, like, what I need to bring?
Once or twice.
And how many times did they actually tell you something good?
They always tell me something good. Steve Weinberger told me I was perfect. He said, honestly, Tony, I can't say you need to do this. He said, all I can say is you're 6'2" and you're standing up next to guys 5'6".
The fuck does that mean?
No, I'm just saying.
'Cause
He's
you're tall, you
saying,
can't win?
so your illusion is different from their illusion. So it's very hard to judge. So if we got 4 dudes that look similar and you look different, you're the odd man out. So that's how they explained it.
And what if you come in conditioned?
So in
and
my
big
mind, though, as an athlete, I'm like, well, you should put me first and put them third,
Yeah,
second.
like-
Says I
you
look
know what I'm
different.
saying? No, I'm serious.
That makes-
but that's
I got
not.
you, I
but
got
it's a business as well.
Right, they have to keep
You
it.
see what I'm saying? Like the people that pay for them to actually have the show, they have a say so in the outcome as well, whether we want to know it or believe it or not. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I believe it.
So.
We already talked about that.
Yeah, if I give you $500,000 to put on a show this year, and my dude gets last place, how much money am I giving you next year? Yeah, exactly.
You ain't getting shit.
Exactly.
You get some popcorn.
So there you go. Either I'm getting a new guy.
I tell you, kind of the same thing happened. You know, this Athletic Con that's coming to Atlanta.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that right now.
Right?
Too. Yeah.
So this is what I heard. I heard, you know, The Rock was like, "Hey man, you know, to Jim Mannion, like, hey, let me invest some money and let's pump this thing up, you know." And Jim was like, "No." So he's like, "All right, no problem. I got my own shit now." You know, so he started his own
I
thing.
heard Phil is doing his show and not the Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't
Or no?
been confirmed. Like
The show's
until
not
Phil or his team says anything, man. Like all that
never
stuff
know.
that Generation Iron posts up.
Oh, I didn't even. I just
yeah, they
just
posted
regurgitating
it. You
right
know,
now.
just trying to kind of get the conversation
But
going.
why
'cause
wouldn't he
obviously
do
Phil's
the
cool with The
Olympia
Rock.
first if he's going to compete?
I mean, you never know. Like that's the point that no one knows except Phil and his
Oh,
team.
okay.
You know what I mean? Until he says something.
Everybody's speculating.
It's just
Kind
creating.
of like us. You know, we're
Just creating a
so,
buzz. Just creating.
so I know you're really good friends with Kai. Is Kai coming back?
I don't know. I mean, in order for him to do the Athleticon or Icons, because that's what it's called Icons World Classic, I think. In order for him to do that show, I mean, he's got to qualify. 'Cause
Really?
Yeah. Like, in order for you to compete at Icons, which is going to be at Athleticon, you got to be either a past Olympia winner. You have to from I believe it's June 2019 to August 2020. From June 2019, August 2020, you have to win a pro show, right? That's one of the qualifications. Or you have to have had gotten top 5 at the previous Olympia. So that's it. And they're only doing 12 competitors.
So we could see
12
Kai on stage
competitors
in
per.
July, August.
Are you going to compete?
Me?
Yeah.
I know a guy.
You know,
I
it's
know a
funny.
guy.
You know,
I got a guy.
well, the thing is, my whole thing is when I retired, I was concerned about my health. Now, the reason why I didn't continue competing was because of soft tissue injury, right? Which was basically my wake-up call.
Okay.
So then when I got my health checked out afterwards, found out that I had my left kidney was stressed, and it was because I had a parasite. I had a kidney worm that I got from eating raw tuna for 6 months in a row.
20
Right?
years.
So once I found that out, then I was like, well, shit, I'm not about to do that shit to myself again until I know I'm good, right? And so when I started doing all the stuff to kill the parasite and to heal my body, the desire to compete just kind of went away.
Yeah.
Because I realized even if I came back and won, I'm still 50. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I just shut it down and just, so now I don't have that competitive fire to do what it takes to do that. Now, I want to look good and all that.
Yeah.
So that's why I won't say I'm satisfied, but I'm not disgusted with myself when I look at myself in the mirror, because I took the muscle suit off for a reason.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Because if I didn't have the soft tissue injury, I would have never found out about the kidney, and I still would have been going hardcore. And then, who knows what would have happened after that.
You would have finally won an Olympia. God damn it.
He don't.
You know what?
He don't believe that at all because
no,
of
because
what
you
he
gotta
knows.
understand.
Yeah, I know.
What
We
he-
talked
Saying,
about
like, I pissed them off when I left.
I know.
But no one
you
asked
pissed
me
them off when you were there, bro.
But no one asked me my side of the story.
Yeah.
Once I decided I wasn't gonna compete again, then I had to go get a job, basically. So the whole NSL thing was an interview for a job. They made this whole big ta-da, and they used me to get their point across. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they bought me the $5,000 watch, and they promised me the money and all that type of stuff, and they did this press conference, but nothing else happened after that ever. You see what I'm saying?
that one
They
So, like,
invited
I
me to-
never did nothing.
I performed at 3
Yeah.
of their events.
But
like,
I
perform
never,
musically.
I
did you?
never got a contract. I never got a check. I never did nothing. I never judged nothing. It was all a publicity stunt.
Right.
So IFBB thought I just left and kicked them to the curb. When I'm trying to feed my family, and I'm an expert at bodybuilding, so I was a consultant basically.
Right.
I didn't leave to go compete or nothing like. I'm like, y'all didn't even ask me what my
Like, come to
intentions
me,
was.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So. If they hadn't ostracized me or blackballed me, I still would have went and as soon as my leg healed, I would have went right back on the horse. So I'm grateful that it all went down. Of course, I won't get to be in the IFBB Hall of Fame anymore, but I'm still trying to. I can't pull it up on my GPS.
Oh.
I can't fucking find it anyway.
To answer your question really quick though, because I know you asked me if Kai's gonna compete.
Oh.
If I think the only way that if Phil announces that he will, then obviously I'm not saying that that'll motivate Kai because his mind is on other stuff right now. Like
Exactly.
he's got other.
That was a rhetorical question. by the
He's
way.
got other things that's more important to him now. He says it all the time, but because of who is running the show, because who owns the show, and how that may help his career
It will.
in what he's really trying to do.
100%, yeah.
That would be the only reason why logically I would see him entertain it.
If The Rock
And they would
called
give
me-
him a special invite.
Yeah, if The Rock
They
called
would
me
give him that.
and say, "Yo, X, you live in Atlanta. I know you still got it. Would you compete?" I'd be like, "Let me think about it."
Yeah.
And then I would have to go, think about it. But I definitely could. But I'm doing so much other cooler shit.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like-
that was Kai's mentality, but because of it, because all he has to do is prep. Like he's got the size.
He
still.
already in shape.
Right, but I
Well,
mean,
he-
just
that's
get
what he
stage
does.
ready.
Yeah.
So, and that wouldn't be hard for him to do because he's.
know.
done
Isn't
it
that
all.
what Kai's doing? A lot of appearances and things like that.
Oh yeah. I
Guest
mean,
posing. and
Well, he
things.
hasn't done. I mean, he does guest posing, but he hasn't done. I think the last one was in India, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
India, yeah.
He
But,
working on his acting craft.
Yeah, he does a lot of that acting. He's doing the music stuff
Good
too.
for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So in 16, Kai and I, we were over in Prague. 15, I think it was. In Prague, he called me Mr. Friedman. That's what he called me. Besides, he calls me Tony when we're kicking it, but when it's just me and him, he calls me. He said, Mr. Freeman, because I met Kai in 06 when I won Yeah, 07. So I met him before he turned pro and all that. But I got to meet kind of the man and talk to him.
Like actual.
Backstage at the Ironman when I won in 07. And he tells me this story about how, we're backstage and I'm getting ready and he's looking at me like, now that's what it's supposed to look like. He's telling me, what was going on in his head at that particular time.
Not telling you.
No, he told me this afterwards.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
After you won already.
So, and that was our first introduction. Right. So every time after that when we talked, he was like, Mr. Freeman. So he pulled me to the side after Prague. I think they gave me like 6th or 7th or something. And he was like, Mr. Freeman, he was like, you have so much to give the world. You have given bodybuilding more than they deserve. He started telling me this long. He said, you could do movies, you could write books, you can do all this stuff. He said, you need to go do something else. He said, they ain't gonna never let you win again. You know what I'm saying? Like, so stop beating yourself up. Stop beating your head against the wall. He said, it don't matter how you look. You can come out there dipped in gold. You know what I'm saying? And he was telling the truth.
That sounds like something he would say.
And I was like, I said, dude, but I love it. This is all I want to do. You know what I'm saying? He said, I understand that part. I'm in the same boat with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said, I just wanted to tell you that because I hate to see you keep on chasing this thing that they're just pulling it further away from you. The faster you run, the faster they
So let me ask you this, because, I understand what you're saying, right? I guess with the politics and all that. But
well, it's business.
It ain't even necessarily politics. Let me ask you this. So what was the business decision in not allowing Phil to get 8 when he went up against Sean then?
Well, I'll just tell you this. Remember in 2000, was it 8 or 9? When I told Phil, you remember? Was you at the press conference at the Olympia, and Dan Solomon and Bob was trying to get me and Phil to go against each other, back and forth against each other. So they played this recording of me saying Phil was the up and coming. I said, in my opinion, he should stay focused on his physique. Don't do what Dorian did and Ronnie did by pushing the envelope. Listen, because he was training with Hani, saying you listening to people that are not you. I'm not saying they don't care about you, but they're telling you what to do with your physique, and they just got here. You built this. I said, and I'm saying this, and I'm trying to put it in perspective, and so they started saying, well, what the fuck, what you really trying to say? So I said, don't try to put an 8-bedroom house on a 4-bedroom frame. Yeah. And I said that, and they got it when I said that, because I watched Dorian do it to himself. I watched Flex do it to himself. Flex didn't do it that bad. He had to leave early before, because he was chasing that. Because once Ronnie got it, he wasn't giving it up.
He was like, wow.
Then I watched Ronnie do it in 07, my first Olympia. I got 7th place, so top 6 is the only person you get the final. So I come out to watch the final, to watch the pose down and all that. Jim Mannion is coming towards me. I'm walking towards the stage. He stops. He congratulates me, dapped me up, I think, whatever. And so he stands there and he's talking to me. He's facing me, and he's telling me how good I did and how proud of me I was. You know what I'm saying? And they're down to Jay and Ronnie. He never turns around to look at the stage. Oh my God. And then he said, we can't do no more with this. And he did one of these numbers.
Oh yeah.
He said, and
the
then,
belly.
And the new Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler.
Right.
So that's why Phil didn't get 8.
So it was just too much for them to.
First of all, 2 years before that, when Arnold pointed out the bubble guts, and they told before every show at the athletes meeting, we are marking down for distended bellies. They did that like 3 years in a row.
I remember that.
And that's really the first time they really enforced it, especially in a dire situation like that. So it could have been some other stuff, but if he had came in with a flat midsection, they wouldn't have been able to do that to him. They would have probably gave him his 8, and then if it was something else after that, then he might have stepped off. But once he got to that point, and then Phil's ego, attitude, whatever that is, probably pissed him off the rest of the way.
Phil's cool, man. Me and him.
No, I know
me
he's cool.
Me and him
No,
be playing
Phil is
Call
cool
of
as
Duty.
shit.
We be playing Call of Duty together.
Phil is cool as shit. I
hell.
love Phil. But he don't take no shit though.
That's
he
true,
knows
that's true.
when he knows what he sees in the mirror. So in
Yeah,
other
yeah.
words, you ain't telling him nothing that he don't
Yeah.
already know. And that's what I mean by that.
I got you.
I wasn't saying his attitude.
No,
like,
I know
in
you're
other
right.
words, he didn't bow down and kiss
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ass. Oh, I'm sorry.
He
I
just
didn't
comes
mean.
off as very standoff, like very,
No.
like very aggressive.
Okay,
He can come
when
off
I
as
first
that.
met Phil, right? So I'm like in awe because I'm like, damn, he looks good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at the Ironman, same year that I won, he come. No, I got second. I got seventh. This was Ironman 06.
Mm.
Phil comes up to me and is like, man, Tony, you look amazing. He said, dog, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you destroyed them. And they gave you seventh place? There is no way I could. He's like, dude, I couldn't do that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
right?
see
So
that.
I was like, oh, this dude is cool, right? Good looking dude, light skinned, pretty eyes and all that. So me and my boy, we got a booth. Me and Lloyd with the X-Pain.
Oh, Lloyd,
we
yeah,
got a booth.
yep.
So Lloyd's sitting there selling X-Pain. Phil and me's talking. And these girls come up to the booth. So me and Phil still talking. Then Phil, we stop and we say something to the chicks. The chick leans on the table and says, Lloyd, oh, wow, you have amazing eyelashes. And Phil was like, how the hell you gonna say something about this dude eyelashes when I'm standing here with gray eyes? I was just like, oh, hell no. I was like, oh, hell no. You ain't one of them, are you? But, it was one of those moments. I thought it was hilarious. But I also realized that that's he was like a 28-year-old,
Yeah.
good-looking dude with a Mr. Olympia style body with gray eyes, light skin. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shit, he should have an attitude. I mean, what you know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
funny.
all them weapons.
Right.
So that's it's ego, but it's warranted though.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
for
saying?
sure,
His
100%.
confidence, he's not cocky.
Right.
He's
Yeah,
confident.
I don't think he is.
You don't get to that level without having that tenacity.
Of course.
Kobe is gonna be like, yo, I'm about to shoot this J. Then when we go down and you miss, I'm gonna get the rebound and then I'm dunking on you on the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he know he can back that shit up.
Dude, I'll tell you a funny story. I was talking to Greg Valentino when we went there for your thing, and he was talking about Phil in comparison to Arnold, and he said, Paz, you think that Arnold got to that position, became a governor, right? This dude from Austria came and did all the shit he did, and became the governor of California, just by being nice to everybody.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I was like, mm,
No.
no, I don't think that at all. He's like, well, Phil's the same fucking thing. You think Phil's not gonna be nice to anybody? He's trying to take that title as many times as he fucking can, and make as much money as he can doing it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you another story. 2000. What's the year when Phil won India the first time? What's the year he won Olympia the first time? Right?
I think 2012. he
So
won
we're
the-
backstage, 2012. We're backstage, right? And he's 13 years younger than me, right? And now I knew I had a 15-year pro career, and that was his first Olympia. I'm like, yo, dog, because when you get to be my age, you will have that be your 14th, 15th Olympia. He's like, man, I ain't gonna be doing this shit 14 years from now. And I was like, wow, you sure won't be. You know what I'm saying? Because if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. So he really spoke that into existence. It tripped me out. And we're gonna end this on that.
You know what I'd like to end it on?
What?
Maybe you could spit a little mini
Oh man,
rap.
that would be
You want to
ridiculous.
spit a rap?
Yeah, man, come on,
All right, let's go.
let him know.
Do I need a beat? No.
Oh yeah, we ain't got no beat, just acapella.
Man, you
Yeah,
do
just
whatever you
acapella.
feel, man. Do your
Alright.
natural.
Yo, came up from the ashes. I'm on the gram, they telling me I'm attractive. I don't socialize, but I vocalize. I'm way high, just like my taxes. That's how you get it.
Hey,
And how we about to be in a minute.
yeah, you know it.
All right, man.
Hey, man, you gotta come back and
appreciate
see
it.
us
Hey, man.
again, man.
No doubt.